all scared. Maybe you need to learn how to run faster. From me.
You know, Halloween is a useful time for athletes. See, it's long enough into the new season that you've got yourself back into the rhythm of training, but it's actually still close enough to the end of last season that you can remember what it felt like to be rapid. But Halloween is also about facing your fears, wrestling with your demons, and as an athlete, you may have to accept that you suffer from basophobia, a fear of falling. Now those who are best at starts are those who can utilize their quick twitch fibers the best. There also seems to be this view in track and field that if you want to be the best at the starts, you've got to be the strongest. And this is a view that's been backed up by sports science. You see, eyebrows got raised when they took a look at Olympic weightlifters and shot putters and timed them over 30 meters and realized that they were just as rapid as sprinters. I'm not saying that's not a good way to get good at starts. I'm just saying that we all know the skinny kid who doesn't use the weights for them, and he's still got the clarity of Clark Kent. So what's happening? How can you get a piece of it? Well, he or she is neurally and biomechanically efficient in the transition between the set position and the acceleration position. And also, they're not basophobic. Now this video is not going to be able to cover all of that biomechanical stuff, but here's some tips to give you some backbone when the gun goes. You have to come to a zen-like acceptance of falling forward when you start. You've got to get guru with gravity. I want you to think of a moment when you've been walking along and then you've tripped. That right there at that moment of trip is potentially the fastest that you could ever be. When you stumble, your brain's sending all types of desperate alert signals to fire muscles maximally to try and right the ship before you capsize. Your equilibrium has detected that you've just gotten too far in front of yourself, and now your only option is to set your nervous system alight like some kind of fireworks display to try and stop a wipeout. Now firstly, that feeling is your friend in starts. It's not your foe. And secondly, you can use that feeling in training. Think for a second how hectic you'd have to move in order to correct yourself if you were close to horizontal. Imagine the speed you'd have to summon to get yourself back to vertical. Close your eyes and picture it. Feel in your mind how fast you'd be. That's essentially what a start could be. With your first stride, you could put yourself in such a horizontal position that you'd have to fire off your emergency services in order to get yourself back to vertical. Or you could be a cowardly custard and come up too soon. Now, obviously biomechanical patterning is paramount in order to get a better start. And yes, the stronger you are, the more force you can create to overcome your body's inertia at rest. But once you've got to that fully extended position of the first stride, it's not about strength. It's about fleetness of foot to better correct the horizontal fall. Let's look at a stumble quickly. If you stumble, one of two things happens. You either react quick enough to come very upright and save yourself a face plant, but you lose your momentum, or you do a desperate dive in a vain attempt to create the momentum needed to overcome the fall before you give it up to gravity. Gravity! The big G! Ha! Now you've got two options to create this momentum. You either spin your legs like Roadrunner to recorrect, but you're not going to get full extension, or you do get full extension by bounding in order to try to catch up with yourself, but you don't have great turnover. Whether you're successful or not at saving face just depends on whether the speed you generate from spinning or bounding is greater than the speed of falling. So to not be a scaredy cat, here's a different way of thinking about it. Acceleration is controlled falling. When you think you're going to fall, do you go bolt upright, or are you comfortable with that sensation? You see, your nervous system is designed to fire when it feels the danger of falling in order to correct you. So play to your evolutionary ability.
Focus. senses.
Embrace that feeling so you don't sense it as a danger. That'll stop you rising too quickly. Just remember, 1, you have to get to full extension with every stride. That means you're going to feel your glutes firing to push you forward. And 2, lightness of foot combined with maximal force through the floor during that fleet-footedness is the best way to overcome the feeling of falling. If you do a standing start, you automatically know that you have to get into a more leaning position. You're coming from the top and waiting to get into the acceleration position. When you do a crouch start, you're starting from beneath the position and then you're coming up into it. Now you know the set position is actually an awful position to start running from. You want to know how I know? Because if you spotted Aslan bounding down the street towards you like you were a bucket of chicken, you wouldn't be spending time trying to get yourself into the set position. So just realize that the set position is a construct. It's a rule. It's just a way to get everybody in the same place at the same time still. But it's not a great position to accelerate from. And that means that after the beat of the bang, you've got to get yourself into another position from set to actually start running. And that is the full extension position. Funny thing is, when you do a standing start, you're probably closer biomechanically to the perfect running position than you are out of blocks. So what's the benefit of the blocks? Propulsion. With blocks, you can propel yourself through the dead space into the perfect running position. And the more aggressively you can lean, the harder you're going to have to fight to right the ship, which means the faster you are. And let's be clear. The lean is a full body lean or a triple extension like in the clean. See? Now you know where the clean comes in. So get as much full body lean as you can control to get the nervous system to fire maximally over the acceleration phase to get you upright.
You want to feel like you're running for your life. I hope this hurts. Chop off your thumb and send it to me. I want silence in the comments bay. If you hate my vibe, then please subscribe.